Hey, I want to do a short video on the difficulties of changing out your turbo pedestal O-rings, turbo O-rings. So I know there's other videos of them showing this done, but I want to show the hardest things that I've had, and it's the exhaust clamp and behind the turbo, which I don't know if I'll be able to see it here, but if you do this, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it was a real pain getting them off. First of all, it's hard to reach in there, and then on your actually exhaust pipe, there's another one over there. So what happens is these clamps are seized up in some way where they're you get the bolt off. You'll want to try to pull this apart. Most likely it's not going to come apart. But what I did was there's 3 sections here that actually seize up on the steel, the exhaust or whatever. So you'll want to take something and if you can, catch the edge of these and tap on them, knock them back. The problem is it's up there, it's where you can't do that. Everybody says get a little screwdriver or something, but what I did was I took a piece of flat bar, it's probably about 4 foot or so, and I went under the passenger side on the ground, and I found a place where I could actually look up and see that clamp, and I put that flat bar right on the edge, and I gave it a few taps until it kind of broke loose a little bit, and then came up here and again with maybe a punch or something, screwdriver, kept on. But the worst was the one in the back, and that's only because you can't get nothing back there. So again, I used the flat bar. I was able to make out one little place through here, and I shoved this all the way down until I could catch the edge of that clamp, and finally got that off. So one of my problems was the bolt. I call it like a T-bolt. This bolt kept twisting on me, taking it off. But anyway, I got it off and thought I was in the clear, put everything back together. So far. I still have a little bit left to put together here, but same problem. The rear clamp, you can't see it, you can't put hands on it, or you can put hands on it, but I basically closed my eyes and just wrestled around with it. And I want to show you a trick of what I did, because I would get it back there and try to close it, put the bolt on, and the bolt would fall off. And mind you, this is like around with 2 hands trying to feel what's going on. So what I did is I ran a zip tie. I put the bolt in. Well, let me see if I can do this real quick. Put the bolt in, and I ran the zip tie through here behind the bolt, and then around, and then made a loop and came over here. Actually, this was through here, kind of started like that, and then I took the other end of the zip tie and went right behind here and made one big loop. And as I would squeeze, I would tighten the zip tie up, tighten the zip tie up, tighten the zip tie up, because there's no way at least I couldn't squeeze this and put a nut on it when it's back there. So as of right now, I have a zip tie on it, and I don't have the nut on it. And I wish we could get a clear picture of it back there, because oh, there it is. If you can see that T-bolt, that's what I'm going to call it, and that clamp. So the threads are hanging out. I haven't put the nut on it yet. Come on, zoom in here. And there's a zip tie all the way around it holding that in place. Yeah, it's not going to do it. You can almost make out the zip tie right there. But yeah, that's what I got going on. But that's the worst part of the job, is dealing with those clamps back there. And you barely can put wrenches on them. But anyway, and the other part is laying across the top part of the engine. I'll show you that here in a little bit. That's really painful on the stomach there. I ended up putting some pads after a few hours of realizing I should have did it first place. But yeah, that's just kind of give them a couple of tips on that clamp, how to get them off. And a little blaster helps if you know you're going to do it a day ahead of time, kind of spray them down. And it's been a real pain, but I think it's going to come together and hopefully stop my oil leak. Oh, by the way, I did the pedestal, I guess the exhaust back pressure control, whatever, delete. So hopefully, yeah, that's another area that may have been leaking. So maybe we killed 2 birds with 1 stone, or 3 birds. All right, well, that's it. Good luck with your mechanicking. So this is what it looked like with the zip tie in place. You can see where it helps. It goes behind that bolt, which don't let that bolt fly out when you're working with it. And as I squeeze it in there, let's pull that zip tie down. And it's not in any way. So when I'm done, I can just cut it out. Thought that worked pretty good after fighting with it forever. Needed like 4 hands back there. But that's it. I know these mechanics have all these nice videos of their hands, how to do this job, but I want to show you what it really looks like, what you're going to have to do. I don't think it matters if you have a lift or not. The table really helps. And you need a pad or blanket. But this is where you got to get. It didn't work for a long time to get the back of this clamp off. And I spent a few hours like that. And that's what it really looks like. What you're gonna have to get in there and do.